Howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. What's with the hand? Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Tonight, I'm working on a video that's been taking me several days to bring to you. The weather outside is frightful. We had our first cold front come through. It's about 47 degrees out there. It's been wet, rainy, miserable, kind of wet and cold. And so I thought it was a good time to, because the air conditioner is now turned off, as you can hear or not hear. And I thought it'd be a good time to roll out the Dells and play with them a bit. I've been wanting to do some work on that Dell behind me. As you can see, it's on the cart, currently undergoing, it's running right now, undergoing tests. And I've got the IBM in the rack over here is also turned on because now that I'm not using the air conditioner, I can spare the electricity to run these two units, which you'll see in the test results here in what I'm about to show you. You'll see the kind of power these units consume when they're turned on. And then at the end of the video, we'll discuss a little bit what my feelings are on that, what some of the ramifications are. So let's not dilly-dally anymore. Let's get right to the video. So in order to get an idea of how these CPU cores are doing temperature-wise, now I put everything in Fahrenheit scale. I'm sorry to my friends over in Europe that I don't have it in Celsius, but I'll switch it here in a second. But I just want everybody to see. So I've got Boink set up to, let's see if we can't open Boink. And I find Boink is a great way to use some processor. I've got both the limit of the CPU and CPU time set to 99%. And I'm told to leave 10 gig of memory free, otherwise I've got it set up as anybody normally would. So you can see all the processes running here. And so at 100% it's writing all my cores here. Some are dropping off here and there, and then you can see the temperatures in Fahrenheit over here. And you notice some of these minimum temperatures are really low compared to the others, and so I don't know if that was because of when I started monitoring the temperatures, or just perhaps maybe I have some old thermal compound in there and needs to be replaced. I have never replace the thermal compound of these CPUs. This is a server that was donated to me. Now let me go ahead and switch this over to centigrade and apply it. You can get an idea of what the settings are, what the temps are in centigrade. And you see the max is 96, and I'm not getting anywhere near that on any of these processors. So I'm going to go ahead and it is consuming a little bit more memory than when we started. But I'm going to go ahead and let this continue to run and let you keep an eye on it. So this is the server, the noise it makes at full bore. It's running at 99%. It's running the CPUs at 100%. I'm going to move it back because I want to show you the power consumption. We've got one NIC connected, both power supplies are running. Both power supplies are connected through separate battery backup units, which are in turn connected to separate power meters. Let's see if I can get these in view, and you can see the wattage that's being used. I need to get some light on these. I'm sorry. Do my best. One is at about 160 watts. The other one's at about 173 at full bore. It's been on about an hour now. It's raised the temperature in this room from 69.0 degrees Fahrenheit to 70.0 degrees Fahrenheit. Not real loud, you can hear it. I'm using the microphone on my phone, but you can hear how it sounds. Speeds up, slows down. Alright, so this is the Dell R710. It's got the a couple of dual X5670 CPUs and 48 gig of RAM. So I just wanted you to see that. We're going to run Cinebench on this, and we're going to bring the temperatures up. So let's go ahead and run the CPU on Cinebench, and we'll monitor the CPU temps, and you'll see they're jumping up there. My last score on Cinebench was 1347 on the CPU test, so we'll see if this one comes out better. It's quick, I can tell you that. Okay, this time my score was 1353 CBs. Now, I don't know why, but I can't run the OpenGL because my graphics card won't support it. So here we are loaded at about 50 to 55%, and you can see the temperatures, not much of a difference, not a big difference from our 99% utilization. And I'll show you the power they're consuming at this. You can hear the fans, they'll ramp up and then they'll spin down, they'll ramp up and spin down. And I'm seeing, you notice core 0 is 10 degrees higher than core 1, and core 5 and 4, they're pretty close. But I think this is due to old thermal compounds, so it's going to be interesting when I go in and clean these servers and replace the thermal compound and see what kind of difference in temperatures that makes. So, but right now you can see the maximum they've been is 162, and you see there's a 11 degree difference between those two cores. So, and I think that could be due to spotting of the thermal compound. It's gotten old and dried out, and letting one area of the chip get hotter than the others. So we'll, like I say, we'll try to change out the compound and retest. So I'll let you, this is at 55% load, or 50% load. It's putting out some warm air. It's good. It feels good because it's chilly in this room. The temperature is still at 70 degrees. And the power consumption is down to, I don't know if you can see that or not. Good God, that's a horrible picture. 100 and, I need something to reflect light. There we go. Now you can read them. I got some light reflecting on them. So, 150 watts and 160. So still consuming about 300 watts of power. It's a lot of power. And that's at 50% load. So take that for what it's worth. And you can hear the fans ramp up and then go back down. Power supplies are putting out a good deal of heat too. Alright, so I've let the system sit idle now for about 5 minutes, and you can see I've suspended all the activity on Boink. CPU's at 0%, the memory usage is back down, and the CPU temperatures are back down to this mid to upper 70s to mid to upper 80s. This one's all the way down at 75, while this one's at 100, and this one even has a larger load than this one does. So this is why I'm concerned about the thermal paste. So here we are back down at what would be just, sitting there waiting for some task. I don't have any VMs running on this, nothing. Just kind of sitting there on its own. So there you go. There's the range of temperatures. Now let's go find out how many watts this is using at idle. And I apologize if the sound on this is not up to par. I'm using the microphone on my iPhone right now. But the ambient noise in the room is lower because I don't have the air conditioning running. It's 70 degrees still. And this is at idle. This is with 0% CPU usage. This is the noise level you hear. And I'm moving it so that your ear can hear from what direction the noise is coming from. And then of course, the air is blowing out the top here, and power supplies. So here's the wattage at idle with 0 CPU usage. So it's 80 and 8, so about 160 watts at idle. So that's a lot of wattage. But you know, when you consider what this server does, also consider that, you know, I wonder what a gaming PC runs at when it's full bore and you're running 3 or 4 monitors and you're fragging people in PUBG and, you know, fragging. I don't even know if it's called that anymore. It means killing, you know, destroying, winning. But anyway, yeah. I wonder how much a gaming PC consumes. That's an interesting question. Alright, so let's get these CPU coolers out of here. I've, of course, got the server turned off. It's unplugged. And I need to pull this little cover off. Here are the heat sinks for the CPUs. So now all I gotta do is figure out how to get these out of here. And I think just press and release each side, and then the cooler should pop right off. Oh boy, look at that. I don't know if you can see that. That stuff's as dry as a bone. Yeah, and I'll show you the close-up of the CPU here in just a second. But let's get these off. It's a good thing I decided to do this. Go ahead and put those clips back down. Hopefully you can see that. Again, there are just 2 blue buttons, one here and one here. They pop off, and again, CPU coolers come off. Yeah, this stuff is old and brittle. So, go ahead and close it, give you a shot right there. So, I guess we can get started with those. Now, I've got this kit that I ordered off Amazon. It's the Arctic Silver kit, cleaning kit, and the Arctic Silver right there, little tube of Arctic Silver. So here's their thermal material remover, and here is their thermal service purifier. And then I have good old rubbing alcohol I could use as well. Those are my choices. So we'll start with their cleaner and see if I can get this stuff off of the CPUs with their cleaner. So typically what I do is I just take you want to make sure you're grounded, of course. But let's see what it says. Saturate the thermal pad or compound with several drops and wait 30 to 60 seconds. Okay, well, we'll try it. And then it says to use this, apply several drops of the thermomating surface and wipe gently with a lint-free cloth to dry. All right. Now, how often should you do this? Hell, I don't know. Once a year, maybe. I have no idea what the recommendation for replacing your thermal paste is, but now this one I'm just gonna grab some of this and get it off of here with a paper towel. These two processors are beasts. Oh my goodness. I've been watching Tech Yes. It's an Australian guy. And he basically goes around and he picks up used parts and builds gaming PCs out of them. and he built a gaming PC out of with a used Xeon. These are 5670s. So these are 6-core 12-thread processors, and they're overclockable. I think he overclocked these at 4 gigahertz. But he got a board that would use these Xeon CPUs. Man, oh man, he created a screaming gaming rig. I mean, it was very fast. So you have to check out his channel. Okay, let's come over here to the actual, whatchamacallit here, to the, see, it's quite a substantial heat sink here. Go ahead and do the same thing did. You start with the white stuff first. And it gives it it's got kind of a grapefruity or lemony smell to it. There we go. Yeah, it does a bang-up job. Gets it really clean. Did a good job. I'm surprised. So, there you go. Now what I want to do is I want to dry fit these components, because I'm not sure how these go on here. So I think, no, maybe like this. No, maybe like this. Yep, okay, so that's how they go on there. So this one goes on just like that. So let's go ahead and do this one first. Let me move the camera here so you can see what we're doing. I'm gonna put about a pea-sized, not a grain of rice, I like to use about a pea-size. Size of a pea. Here we go. And then we'll go ahead and put the cooler back on. And we'll bring our latches down. And there we go. There's our first one done. Now let me go ahead and dry fit this one. There we go. So I think it's going to go like that. Yeah, this one's going to go like that. So go ahead and put a pea-sized drop on. Yeah, I don't know what the recommended is for thermal compound. I would just, you know, I would just say maybe once a year. I don't know. Look it up on the internets and see what other people recommend. Okay, so that side's, go ahead and clip this one, and I do believe our CPUs are now back in there with their proper thermal compound on them. So we'll go ahead and put the baffle back on, just like that. And we'll put the cover on, and then we'll power her up. All right, so thermal paste applied, and as you can see, here's the two processors. And on this one, on processor number 1, I'm getting some really odd. You see I've got one core at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, one at 93, one at 84, one at 70, one at 95, and one at 84. So I don't know why the wide spectrum of temperatures there, but even when they were maxed out, you can see they're pretty close to one another. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why one core is at such a lower temperature than the others. And if I flip them here to C, there you can see we're running anywhere from 20C up to 34C. So yeah, I don't know why the temperature fluctuations are so high on processor 1, unless the thermal paste is not just applied properly, or maybe just has to seed itself. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to switch this back to Fahrenheit because I don't like the metric system. But anyway, I have my own reasons for that. Alright, so this is at idle. It's been running about 15 minutes. And we'll let it sit here at idle for about half an hour. And we'll check the temperatures again, and I'll come back when we're ready to ramp this thing up to 100% usage. So here we are, running at full bore, 100% CPU utilization. You can probably hear the machine behind me ramping up and slowing down. And I really, to be honest with you, after I changed the thermal compound, I don't see much of a difference in the temperatures from what they were prior to the thermal compound being changed. Now, if you notice on this, the TDP on this processor is 95 watts, so it's going to run a little bit hotter than, for example, a lower wattage CPU. In fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got my IBM unit up here as well. Let me show you that one. So this one is running a E5620 CPU, which is an 8-core, 16-thread processor, and its TDP is only 80 watts. And you can see I've also got it running at 100% as well, and it is only running at around 120, 130 Fahrenheit is the highest temperature I've gotten out of that unit. Let's switch back over to the Dell unit, and there it is. And right now that thing is consuming about 320 watts. Let's see if I can bring that up. Let's see, what is it currently consuming? Yeah, 246 to 364 watts of power is what it's consuming right now. So with the temperatures being low outside, it's only 47 outside. I'm using these two servers as space heaters right now. And they will, last night it raised the temperature from 69 to about 73 degrees in here by the time I went to bed at about 2 in the morning. It had raised the temperature quite a bit. So I don't see that the thermal paste has helped a lot with the temperatures, but it's done, and we'll let Boink continue to run, and we'll come back later and see how the temps are doing. So here we are now after the thermal compound has been replaced. And we're running at about 50% CPU usage, 50 to 55. And I actually think it's running a bit warmer than it was when I replaced the thermal compound. And we'll discuss that here shortly. But I wanted you to see the test results as they were. I throttled this down to 50% about 5 minutes ago, so it should have stabilized by now, and you can see the temperatures I'm getting. And if you compare them with the previous results, I think you will see that there's not a significant change. If anything, the processors are weirdly running warmer. So you can see here our load is at 0 to 1 to 2% on the processor. I'm going to go ahead and run Cinebench now that we've done the new thermal compound. We'll go ahead and let that run, and we'll see how it does temperature-wise. You see it's maxing out the CPUs. I don't know if you can hear it, but the fans are ramping up. This is a pretty lickety-split processor, as they used to say in my time. Yeah, it runs. It's pretty fast. I'd love to build a gaming PC out of a processor like this with a nice video card. And again, 1342 CBs on the Cinebench test. So, yeah, I'm impressed. And the temperatures, yeah, normal. So there you go. We've replaced the thermal compound on that Dell. We've run a plethora of tests on CPU. We've ramped it up to 100%, down to 50%. We've run Cinebench on it. We've done all sorts of tests, and you've seen the results. So the bottom line of this is it idles around 150 watts. That server does. The IBM I couldn't tell you because I don't have a power monitor on there, but we're going to be eventually pulling that out of the rack and doing some tests on it, but that's for another video. But on this Dell, so 150 watts at idle and anywhere from 320 to 365 at full-on 100% usage. And I'm going to tell you the other thing this thing really does really well. It heats up this room. I kid you not. When we started this endeavor, the room temperature was 69. Last night when I went to bed at 2 a.m., the temperature was up to 74. And when I came in here this morning, it was still at 74 degrees. So between that Dell and that IBM both running, they managed to raise the temperature in the room about 5 degrees. And this room is not small. It's about 22 by 13. Plus the size of the equipment closet. Now the bathroom, I keep the door closed, so it's not really doesn't really pull in any cold air. And it's not real cold outside, but that shows you the amount of energy these things use and the amount of heat they produce. Now, I could have put on my space heater, but that draws 1500 watts at full power. These only draw 360 some odd watts at full power. And I'm assuming the IBM is going to be similar. But the point I'm trying to make is that, yeah, it costs energy to run these things, but actually they heat up the room pretty well. And I'll be interested to see as the winter comes on if they continue to heat up the room well, because it actually will be cheaper to run my servers than it will to be run my little electric space heater. So, hey, it's a win-win for me. Now, you know, one thing I did not realize is how much power gaming PC. I've been watching a lot of gaming PC videos from a guy called Tech City Yes, or Tech Yes City. He's an Australian guy. Look him up on the interwebs and check out his YouTube channel, because for me it was interesting. And but I didn't realize how much wattage these gaming PCs use, like just when you're playing PUBG in a game, and they can use 200 to 300 watts just for one PC. So I don't feel so bad about running these servers sometimes. And as I think about it more, I'm going to have to add up what I'm using wattage-wise running these individual servers and see if I just wouldn't be better to pretty much virtualize everything and just leave these servers running 24/7. So that'll make for some other interesting videos, I'm sure. Now, I've also stated on several occasions that we pay between 10 and 12 cents per kilowatt hour. So power here where I live is relatively cheap. We use about 2,200 kilowatt hours of electricity every month. But normally I only have one of those Dells running 24/7. Then I have my switches, I have my routers, I have PoE switches, I have a phone system, and all of that. So maybe that's maybe we can reduce that load. I don't know, but I don't feel guilty about it because power, like I said, power is cheap. I have toyed with the idea, like I've told you before, of converting my equipment closet to run on solar power, but the money that I would spend to do that, even doing it the poor man's way, my way, the king of cheap's way, it would still cost me more money than the electricity I pay. I think the payback was over 10 years. So, because you got to get a battery bank, you got to have sufficient battery power to run when the sun isn't up, and those batteries are not cheap. They're $80 to $90 a battery. They're deep cycle batteries, and they only last 3 to 5 years. So I'm waiting for them to perfect the battery technology before I embrace solar. Solar has its uses. I use it whenever I can, but It's just not economically feasible here in the United States because our power is so cheap to switch to solar, unless you just do it because you want to be the cool kid on the block, and that's fine too. But anyway, I digress. How'd I get on this tangent? The servers, they consume power and they heat the room. So I think it's a win for the environment either way. So there you go. Thermal compound didn't make a damn bit of difference. If anything, the temperatures are a little bit higher. Somebody explained to me why that is, and like I said, I did take the heat sinks off and make sure the compound was applied properly. It was over the whole surface. So anyway, hope you found the video entertaining and informative. Don't forget, these Dell servers are great. Not only are they great servers for virtualization, they make damn good room heaters. So there you go. Give us a like down below. Leave your comments in the comment section. I have been loving all the comments, and I've been trying to answer every one of them that I can. But as we get more of them, it may get tough, so you might just get a thanks for watching. That's my general reply. Donate if you're so inclined. PayPal, Patreon, we take both of those. Or if you want to send us something, let me know. Send an email to Unky Joe's Playhouse, or Unky Joe at UnkyJoe'sPlayhouse.com. And if you want to send me something, I'll give you an address to send that to. Thanks again for watching, and please don't forget, we'll see you on the other side.